All right. Hello, everyone. Welcome to the 13th episode of the PokéSells official podcast. My name is Rocco Mitchell. I'm your host, and I'm here today with my friend or acquaintance. I've met you at Lighthouse, the
hmm
first Lighthouse I did, but I don't know if we've ever really interacted besides that, obviously on Instagram and all that stuff. But my friend Anthony, another seller in the Nashville area, he, like Jackson, my friend, in the previous episode, does a lot of big collecticons and local shows in Lighthouse. So, recently started his YouTube channel, has grown that well, has a good Instagram following. So, my friend Anthony, if you could please introduce yourself for those that might not know you.
Hey, my name's Anthony. I also go by PokéSells on Instagram. Um, do shows, Instagram stuff, YouTube, kind of all over the place nowadays, TikTok. Um, and yeah, just local here with in the Nashville group. So killing it out here with everybody else.
Yeah, it's crazy how like much I feel like I got
Nashville
in at a
stacked.
yeah, I think I got in at a good time because like I feel like um as soon as I started like stuff started everyone started popping off, people started like, or maybe I just became more aware of it, but just a lot of stuff happening. So just getting an introduction, like start, how did you, one, get into Pokemon originally, and two, like how did you get into selling Pokemon?
Sure. Like everybody else, I got into it when I was a kid, right? My This was my introduction to Pokemon.
Mm.
I got this when I was, you know, probably 5 years old, something like that for Christmas. It came with Pokemon Yellow, and I played the game, loved it, got the cards, loved it ever since. I reconnected with it, I think in 2016.
Hmm.
I don't know if that's around the same time Pokemon Go came back out. Um,
Yeah,
but
it's around
Pokemon Go
that time.
definitely resurfaced a lot of their collecting again. Back then I wasn't selling, I was just buying. And it's funny because back then I was looking at like base set packs and they were like $80 a pop. And I was like, ooh, that's expensive.
Yeah.
Never bought them. All this stuff like you see now that's thousands of dollars was like $100. Like you could get a
Hmm.
crystal Charizard back then for like $150.
Yeah.
Um, but it's funny to see it now.
Hmm.
Fast forward to what is 6 years ago is when I really started my Instagram and selling. So I built that doing like small claim sales on my page and haven't done like in-person vending too much. That's a recent thing from
Hmm.
like this is year 2 for vending. So wanted to get out in the public space and like actually meet
Yeah.
people and do the whole vending thing. So I got a little bit too spoiled to Instagram, so we had to
Hmm.
get out there.
Yeah. No, that's true. I recently because I started off eBay, and eBay, FeeBay, all that stuff. But
hmm
just I started doing claim sales like after I started vending a lot more,
hmm
and it was just crazy. Like within like an hour, you get like a couple of people DMing you on eBay and Facebook, or not eBay, but Instagram and Facebook and all that stuff, and it's like,
Claim sales are
wow,
huge.
yeah, no fees usually. Um,
Oh yeah, everything's
just
usually like Venmo or friends and family too. Everybody's chill on
yeah,
Instagram.
yeah. So it's really really cool. That's awesome. So you've been vending 2 years, you said, or selling, I guess, 2 years. Um, what, how did you start? Like, did you start like obviously I started at the local level here with Lighthouse, and then
hmm
hopefully my goal is to build my way up to a collector con in, by the end of the year. Maybe do one. And like, how did you start off? I guess if that would.
So I started off primarily on Instagram. Well, further back was Facebook, but that's whenever waffles were more popular. I'm not too familiar now with like the raffle stuff on Facebook, but back then I was in a group and the raffles were super good, and that's what transitioned me over to Instagram. I didn't like the whole like someone else has the money until they receive your product, they
Hmm.
give you the money. I didn't like that aspect of it. So I went to Instagram, um, did the claim sales like smaller singles. Back then it was a lot easier to get deals. You could get
Hmm.
bigger lots at 60%, 70%, like no questions asked all day long. little bit different
Crazy.
nowadays. But I started off with small singles, doing claim sales. Stories is my biggest thing. I like
Hmm.
stories. I find that if you post a claim sale on a story, you get like Instagram kind of self moderates and they'll hide comments and you have to actually dig for them. Um, and also it's just like it's just chaos on your post because there's a million comments and you have to like figure out who said what first. And stories is easy because it's everybody can see it. You don't actually have to like go scrolling on your phone
Hmm.
to see your post. It's just automatically going to be shown at the top. So I like story sales.
Yeah.
Once I did claim sales for a long time, um, that's when I built up enough inventory to do my first vending show,
Hmm.
which was the National.
Oh.
And then that was a few years ago. I only did that one show and then I stopped. Went back to
Mm.
Instagram for a few years, like 2 or 3 more years. Um, and then once I got enough inventory, I just decided to do a little bit more of the shows to see what it's like. And then I think after maybe 3 or 4 of like the smaller lighthouse shows or like another national, I decided to, go for the Collecticon move. And then
Hmm.
after that, I'm sold on Collecticon. Everyone I
Yeah.
can drive to or go to, I'm there for sure.
Cool. That's really cool. And I did the national 2 days or 2 days, 2 weeks ago. And that was really crazy. Like I was really, I went as a buyer the first time,
Hmm.
and then going as a seller the next one. I was like, dang, bro, it was like completely life changing and like really, really cool. Like it was like, dang, like you can make it. I don't want to sound like cocky, but like for me, it was like, sometimes like some of the teachers or some people don't understand what I'm doing, right?
Oh,
And
my dad still doesn't
come,
understand what I do, and
yeah,
he still doesn't get it.
yeah. I come back like I came back from that weekend, and I was like, I, like people are like kind of asking like, oh, yeah, how was your weekend? It was a long weekend.
Hmm.
Excuse me. And
Shows
people
are
are
rough.
asking,
Shows are lots of
yeah,
work.
yeah. And they were like, oh, what did you do this weekend? Blah blah blah. And I was like, oh, I sold Pokemon cards. And one of my teachers was like, what? You did what? And I was like, yeah, I sold Pokemon cards, and I probably made your monthly salary in a weekend. So like
Right. Yeah.
how like
Probably
stuff like
more.
that. Yeah. And when you hear that, it's like realizing that is kind of humbling in a way. But also it's
Hmm.
like, wow. And for example, like I got a haircut today, and this lady, um, she's a family friend, and her kids love Pokemon. She loved Pokemon, and we just ended up talking about Pokemon. And I was telling her, like some of the numbers that people that like average Collecticon people, some other big people that I've talked to, and they're like, "What? Like you can make how much money in this?" I'm like, "Yeah, this is serious."
People don't get it
You
until
know,
they see it in like in action.
yeah. So, and my parents mostly understand. The one thing though is, and we can talk about this, is um, like what? Someone's gonna spend $300 for like a PSA, like for example, like a slab? Like what? That's kind of absurd. But like, there's a market for it. There's it's it's interesting. And
Hmm.
I think it's unlike anything else, obviously here. Um, but yeah, that's really cool, your story. And going to like all these shows, going to a lot of collecticons, what has been like your favorite show that you've probably gone to or convention?
Um, I mean, Atlanta numbers wise has been the best for me. Um, a standout show for me was Richmond. Um, Richmond was like a hit or miss show for Collecticon because usually Collecticon tables sell out within 5 minutes, right? But
Hmm.
Richmond last year, the tables were available like 2 weeks before the show. And that's like it's like, oh man, people aren't buying the tables, right? Because, you're in Virginia, you're in like kind of the middle of nowhere where it's like it's a hit or miss.
Yeah.
But we took the chance on it because, I was just trying to get anything I could get at the time. And Richmond was a really cool city. Like the people were cool. It was very like young, hip. The food was good. I just liked it. It was a good show. That and Houston. Houston was another really cool show. Houston's food
Wasn't
was insane.
Yeah, well, Texas food is
So
amazing.
good,
How
dude. Yes,
about
so good. The food was 10 out of 10.
yeah,
The
Texas
drive was
is
brutal. We drove there and it took like
oh
15
really?
hours on the
Yeah.
road. It was horrible.
Dang. I have family that lives in Houston. Usually takes us like 10 hours to drive there. That's what was the Houston what it was this month, earlier this month, correct? Was
No,
it
that
this
was
Houston or a
Atlanta.
different one? Oh, that was no. Oh yes, because that was same weekend.
Same
Houston
day as
was
the
yeah,
national.
a national. Yeah. That was yeah, definitely interesting. For some
But
people
numbers
I think
wise, Atlanta has put more
yeah,
numbers.
yeah.
But
Well, because it's more central. So
mhm,
that would make sense. But that's really cool. They need to do a Collecticon here in Nashville. I don't know why they don't got one yet.
I would
But
love it.
yeah, that'd be everyone here would be scrambling for the tables. But that's really cool. Like I said, I've never been to a Collecticon like person. Like I've only seen like vendor POVs and
You've never
buyer
even been as
POVs
just
and
like
all.
an attendee,
No,
dude.
no,
So the national, you take
mm,
that building and multiply it by at least like three.
it's crazy.
It's huge. It's massive. And then pretty much every table is Pokemon
Yeah, that's
or
it's
like a
crazy.
merchandise for Pokemon,
Yeah,
but mostly
yeah,
just Pokemon.
yeah. That's wild.
It's crazy.
That's
It's a
yeah,
whole other thing.
yeah. I yeah, definitely a big goal to go up there.
You should have went.
That's
Well, you were vending. Never mind. You couldn't have gone to
yeah,
Atlanta.
yeah. And I can't drive yet, so I
There's
need
another
to.
Atlanta one towards the end of
It's
the
in
circuit,
yeah, it's
probably like
yeah.
October or
I know what you're
something.
talking about. Yeah, yeah. I know which one you're talking
That's the
about.
goal, dude. You got to be there.
Yeah,
You got to
yeah.
vend
Um,
Atlanta
how
on the
much
second.
tables are like what 300 I think or what
So
are they? Or are they
if you go by yourself or you don't have like a group doing an island, I think you still have to buy two tables for 750.
minimum?
So it ends up, yeah, minimum. So it ends up being $750. But if you split that between like a
Interesting.
friend, it's,
Yeah,
375.
cheaper.
Mm-hmm.
Cool.
Or if
That's
you're in a
why then.
group that buys an island, which is all 10 tables,
Yeah,
it's like 290 a table. So you end up
interesting.
saving
So
like
like
85 bucks.
it's like bulk order type stuff. That's
And that seems to be the only way to get in nowadays because everybody's just buying up the islands or reselling the tables. So it's really
yeah,
hard to get in. Like if you're just buying two tables.
Collecticon scalping.
For sure. It's a thing.
Yeah, it's funny. That's yeah,
Very frowned
that's
upon,
yeah,
but it exists.
yeah,
So
yeah. Um, that's cool. What I obviously you said like merchandise stuff. I know your ex girlfriend, fiance. I don't remember off the top of
fiance,
my head.
yeah.
Okay, fiance. Does a lot of like Pokemon merch, like T-shirt stuff, right?
Yeah, she does
Yeah,
airbrushing.
that's really cool. How is that kind of how she kind of puts her little investment into it, or is that just something that she enjoys doing, or
Yeah, she's got some art degrees and stuff, and she brings them with us to the shows because she's there to help me. She
yeah.
helps me make content. So that's like her little nook of something she can sell while she's there to also make herself a little bit of
Hmm.
money. So that's been really cool. People love
Yeah,
them
no,
too.
that's no, yeah, they're really cool. They're like all like the little retro sprites, right? Or something like, or
It depends on the
and
piece.
that's
They're all like older art so far, but I mean she
mhm,
does customs too. So
that's cool. That's yeah, it's really cool. I I love to see obviously because I'm still like single and all that stuff, but seeing like all the people that like I saw that the national with like every vendor, like they have their girlfriend or their fiance or their wife or whatever just there supporting them. It's like it's really
you need a
cool to make it like
helper.
a whole
Once
family. Yeah,
once you get to the point where you're doing Collecticon, you can't do it by yourself.
yeah.
You
Well,
have
that's
to
why
have a helper.
I have my brother with me doing all my stuff. So me and him, we're a team together. And oh, sorry,
You have to be. I
we're
mean, like
yeah,
if you're doing Collecticon by yourself, there's rarely a time where you don't have someone at your table talking to you. So you
really,
need someone there to where you can at least just use the restroom or
yeah,
like at least go grab a water or something to eat because it's nonstop talking, doing deals for the whole 8 hours.
that's crazy. So they're 8 hour days, like what, like
I think
seven
so. It's
to
like it's like a
or nine.
VIP gets in at 9 and then it goes to 5. Or
Oh,
I
that's
think
actually
Saturday goes to 6. So it's 9 hours on day one.
that's not
Day
that
two,
bad.
it ends at 5.
It's not that bad. That's,
You feel it
I mean,
after day two. It's horrible.
yeah,
You
yeah,
get
I
wrecked.
felt
Yeah.
it. I felt after the national, which obviously is not
Oh.
as busy, but I was like, oh my god, I come home and I'm like, me and my brother were like, oh my goodness, we're so tired, we're so
Mm-hmm.
hungry,
It's
and
exhausting.
yeah, but it was kind of funny because like after every day we came like we'd rest and then we were like that's the end of it, and then I would be like, oh wait, no, we still have a whole weekend left, and it's
Well, yeah,
like
because National's 3 days, right? It's Friday, Saturday, and
yeah,
Sunday.
Sunday, so it's very I can imagine that Collecticon is very very not grueling but very busy, which is good because busy day means good business,
Busy means money.
good sales. Yeah, exactly. So that's really really cool. Um,
Yeah, bring a helper.
obviously,
You'll need it.
yeah, I'll definitely and definitely having like a group too. That's what kind of we're doing down here is at least right now, just kind of forming a group and getting stuff together and I don't know, just doing whatever I can, having fun, um, just all that type of stuff. So that's really cool. What so obviously you've done a bunch of stuff. You're saying Facebook waffle? I think Abe told me about this. What
Waffles, so
is
it's raffle.
yeah,
So it's
uh-huh.
like you'll run a card, let's say it's $100. Usually you can run raffles at like 20 to 25% over market because
Mm-hmm,
you're filling seats, right?
mm-hmm,
So if it's $100 card, you can put it at like a waffle for $120, and then however
mm-hmm,
you want to divvy that up, like 10 seats at $12, right? So you'd be like seat 4 and 7, that's your spots, right? And then once that like line fills,
mm-hmm.
you run it through a random generator and it picks like whoever the top number is after like 7 rolls or whatever the rules are. That's who wins the card.
That's crazy.
Yeah, so it's just like gambling in a sense, but
Yeah.
you're just doing a raffle. Raffles are cool. It's just you have that middleman part where it's like you have to pay a fee to like your roller because they usually don't let you roll your own things. So you
Mm-hmm,
have to have like a third party roll it. They take like 5%. They hold your money until the package is delivered, and then you get your money
oh,
after the. It's like a
dang.
weird, yeah, but you do
Yeah.
get that like extra little over market bump.
Yeah.
Some people
That's
just do that and that's their whole thing, but it's just not for me.
no, yeah, it's cool.
Not anymore.
That's interesting. I yeah, that's bizarre to me, I guess, in a way. I don't
There's a
very
local
interesting.
page
I'm
for waffles here.
yeah, there's isn't it it's like the Wheel of Death thing, right? Or is it that
Kind
the
of, yeah,
Facebook group?
same
Yeah,
thing, yeah.
yeah. That's that's what it reminded me of. That's interesting. Really cool. What I was trying to get at was like you obviously you've done that, you've done Instagram claim sales, you've done collecticons, you do, all that stuff. What is like I guess platform is usually what I say, but I guess what is your avenue, I guess, that you see like the most success for selling, whether that be, like collecticon, Instagram, Facebook, whatever, et cetera, et cetera.
It just depends on what your goals are, I would say. Numbers wise, you'll never beat Collecticon unless you're
Mm-hmm.
like, one of the big boys, like you had go to pulls on right, Arvin.
Mm-hmm.
Unless
Yeah.
you're Arvin and you can sling Milky Bags on whatnot and you're doing like those high numbers, you just can't touch Collecticon. People are
Yeah.
there to spend money. They pay $30 to come in to spend money. So it's hard to beat a Collecticon, but my definitely my favorite avenue has been Instagram. It's
Yeah.
it's always been my bread and butter. This year I'm looking more to um, put more effort into YouTube though, which is
Mm-hmm.
good that you're doing the same thing.
Yeah.
Because if you're already there at a card show, you may as well set up a camera and try to
Camera.
like
Exactly.
monetize it, right?
Exactly.
So
Or even
I
to like just it's a recording of deals.
yeah, I mean it's good
Like
for
it's
theft. People see a camera, they don't want to steal anything.
exactly. So it's pretty cool. That's really
But
cool.
Instagram I love
Is your bread and
Instagram.
butter. Cool. That's
I just did a claim sale
good stuff.
yesterday on my story.
Yeah, I saw it.
Did like 5K.
Bro, I was gonna like snag some cards. I think I was gonna I was gonna ask for like it was like it was like your 140 to like 200 evolutions, like
Yeah.
that range, and someone took them all. I was like, bruh. I was like, literally, like the moment I was gonna send you, I saw your story, and I was like, oh my goodness, bro. because I had just got, I saw it at lunch at school, and I was like, okay, let me like look at my numbers really quick in class,
Hmm.
and then I'll get back to it. And then I looked, and it was gone. I was like, bro, but
Dude, the
nuts.
stories are good. They're
That's it.
popping.
Yeah, that's
I'll have so like a numbers comparison. So if I
mhm,
post like a video or a picture, I don't know how many people really see it. I don't look into like those insights, but it'll get like maybe 40 or 50 likes, right? But if I post a story, I can see that at least four, sometimes 500 people will look at it. And
yeah,
all of those
that's
four to
crazy.
500 people are potential buyers because usually if they're looking at my story, they're like, oh, what's he got for sale?
Yeah,
So the
that's
stories are
that's
good.
awesome.
Stories are awesome. They do a lot better than just like
Mhm.
posts.
Yeah, that's that's really cool. I yeah, that's crazy that you get that because for me, I'll get like 40, people seeing my story and stuff like that, which I don't know, I guess maybe sometimes it's people that follow and then forget or whatever,
Hmm.
but that's
Well, it's hard to
that's
get high
amazing.
numbers because like if you look at my follower count, it's 4.5K, but only
Hmm.
500. Like that's a top. Like it's usually between 350, 450, but that's like 10% of my following, right? So it's
Yeah.
still low. It's just it's only that high to you because you're not at that 4.5K
So
right now. What's your
yeah.
follower count?
Um, I think I'm at like 910.
So I mean 50, I mean we're probably around the same percentage then.
Yeah.
It's just it's hard to figure out how to get those other 4,000 people to look at your story, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
If they did, I'd be cruising, you know?
Yeah. I'm yeah. Goal by probably end of March, I'll have a 1K. That's the goal. And then
Dude, you'll get there. Just keep
I'll be doing
posting.
some, yeah, I'll be doing some like t-shirt merch or some other stuff like that. So I'll be that's the goal. And then YouTube to get it up. Which obviously you have a YouTube.
Hmm.
What so like you said, doing vendor POVs. It's for me. It's like you said, it's kind of like a no-brainer. I don't have my well. This is my actual phone. I have a recording phone.
Hmm.
I have a second phone that I use for recording. Just a iPhone 14's an older phone, old phone that I had. And set it up. Boom, there. Attach my little microphone, and you have a vendor POV rolling and its content.
Hmm.
What kind of inspired you, I guess, to make vendor POV content, and like why do you enjoy doing it?
I made the decision to do it because, like I said, we're already kind of doing it, so we may as
Yeah.
well show it to other people. It's like a weird like nook of the internet where people just like to watch them. I'm one of them.
Hmm.
I watched a ton of them before I even made one because it was like, oh, I like this content. I would like price cards, and I've got like Bulbasaur, like in the
Hmm.
background or whatever. Last time I priced, I watched your interview with Arvin,
Uh,
um,
like,
and it's just like they're intriguing. They're cool. It's cool to see how other people interact when they're doing deals.
mhm.
You can learn a lot from it as a seller. Um, it
Yes.
definitely helps you prepare. I watched a ton of them to get ready for my first Collecticon.
Yes.
So after getting inspired by all that, I was like, when I do it, I should just set up a camera and just see what happens.
Yeah.
The
I
first video didn't like, do super well, but I mean, no one knew who I was, so I didn't expect it to.
exactly. For well, I was gonna say, like for me, I feel like it's yeah, like you said, it's like that niche. It's kind of a nook of the internet. But I feel
Yeah.
like it's also something where like a random channel that just started and does like event. Say they've been vending for like 2 years, 3 years, right? But then they
Hmm.
want to do a vendor POV and they just go to a collecticon. Like they'll get views relatively like quickly, like uh,
Hmm.
like differently than other like niches and stuff like that. So I feel like it's a I don't want to say an easy niche to blow up in, but like for example, you have like what like 3, 4 videos on your YouTube or
I
something
think I
like
have
that.
four. Two of them are not even POVs. One of them's like a grade return, and then the other one's just
Yeah.
me talking about like the market versus like modern versus vintage. But the other three are POVs.
Yeah, like like to my point, like you already have like 1,000 subs, right, or something like that.
Yeah, yeah, I got
So
a lot
like,
of those from a short that went viral. Did like
oh really?
800K. Yeah.
Oh okay, okay. Well, I didn't know that. I stand corrected then. My bad. Um,
One of it, yeah, the
uh,
short was just like one of my friends wanted me to. He bought a heavy base set pack, and he
Uh-huh.
wanted me to open it. So I had the fiance roll on the camera. We opened it, and it got like 800,000 hits, and it did like 250,000 hits on Facebook. It was
That's crazy.
crazy. It
Yeah.
went crazy.
That's
And I think
that's
on
awesome.
TikTok it did like 200K or something. I can't remember the numbers,
Nice.
but
Cool.
collectively it did over a million, which was crazy.
Yeah,
So I guess you
that's a
just need
lot.
like the one video and you just get like a
The
bunch
one
of
video
people to
took
follow
off.
you.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. That's cool. That's yeah, I did not know that. That's really cool. I yeah, vendor POVs, I enjoy doing it. It sucks though, because like for example, my national vendor POV, like Friday, I have a good amount of content, right? Because the phone is fresh.
Hmm.
But then by Saturday evening, my phone is like halfway full of storage and
Yeah.
my
You need.
laptop's halfway full of storage.
Hmm.
So for me, it's getting like a drive or something, like just a 1 terabyte drive that I can just plug all the stuff in before I edit it or whatever.
Once you
But
get going a little bit more, you need to bite the bullet and get a DJI
yeah,
for sure.
that's the
Best $800 I've ever spent.
what is that, if I may ask?
Here, I'll show you. I actually have it right here below me in my case. It's a camera, so it shoots 4K HD. This is it right here.
Oh
It's
yeah, the DJ.
Yeah, it's just a little
I know the mic
vlogging
brand.
camera. Yeah, it comes with like this little guy. You probably have one of these.
Yeah, I have they are not up here, but I have the Rhodes
So this little guy,
Rode one. Oh, yes, I know what you're talking about. I think I saw what's his name.
look at that little
Shoot,
guy.
I bought. Yeah, that's super cool.
It also has
What's his?
face tracking and everything, dude. It's sick.
That's cool.
So you can just like set it up on a tripod, click
Yeah,
yourself, and if you're moving around, it'll just move with you.
that's awesome.
And
We'll
then the
put that in
storage
beach.
card is like, I want to say I have like a 500 gigabyte SD card, which is huge. Like,
That's multiple. That's a whole weekend. Like that's more than plenty for a whole
oh,
weekend.
you won't fill it up with just one weekend for sure, which is nice because you
That's
need to keep that footage rolling. And then I
yeah.
just plug it into a power bank that I set under the table, and then it won't die throughout the whole day.
That's cool. I think I saw
I
Hobby
think Jackson
Heroes.
has one.
Yeah,
He doesn't he doesn't make
maybe.
vendor POVs, but I know he
Yeah.
has one. He recommended
Oh,
it
he
to
does.
me,
Oh, really?
and when I looked into it, I was like, yeah, dude, this thing's sick.
That's cool. I think what's his, Hobby Heroes.
Charles,
What's his? Yeah, Charles. Yeah, I think he has one of those. I think I saw that. Something like, or something
it's
similar, like camera.
it's uh it's one of the best cameras you can purchase for like vlogging right now. And
Yeah,
it being so compact and the price
yeah,
point to what it can shoot at is like literally the best.
cool. That's learn something new. Definitely, we'll have to get one of those or
Osmo Pocket
um,
3.
put that.
You might be able to find a used on Facebook too. Get like a
Probably could.
couple $100 off.
Yeah, it's cool. That's that's awesome. And yeah, the vendor POV stuff. Back to that. I love watching them. I do that. I watch a lot of vendor POV and I watch a lot of um like historical videos, and then I watch a lot of either D&D playthroughs. So I'm like a Dungeons and Dragons guy. Like I have a group that I play with, and or like just big like lore stuff. I love watching a bunch of like lore, like 30-minute lore videos about whatever it is. Just that's stuff I enjoy doing. So vendor, like you said, it's just easy. Just set up a camera, get a mic, boom, you're there.
Yeah,
Um,
you're already doing everything that someone wants to watch in that niche.
yeah, exactly.
No brainer.
So
Just do it. Yeah.
yeah, um, really cool. So a little section that I like to have in every podcast, and I don't have my guy because I actually sold it at the National, but it's
Was it the
like
felt hat? Did the felt hat leave you?
no, okay, well, I'm kind of salty about the felt hat because I had I had my felt hat, right,
Hmm.
and I think I had it at like 250, no, 350. I had it at 350. market was like 330, but there was like a couple 350s and I think one like 370. So I just priced it at 350.
Yeah, totally fair.
And a guy came through who was like a repacker.
Was this
And
on
we're not a
Friday?
repacker. Saturday night.
Saturday night. Okay. Usually those guys come
Yeah.
Friday.
Yeah. Or not a repacker, but he for some stream, like
Hmm.
I don't know really if you call that a repacker, but whatever. He bought it at, I bought the card at 180. So I had already like,
Super in the
doubled the
green.
money. Like, yeah, I was super in the green. And I sold it at 280. So I made $100, but then my friend, there were two nine felt hats in the room, mine and then another one of my friends. And I saw it. I was like, wait, you have the other felt hat? I'm like, you're the one that's like manipulating the prices. Like I have people asking me about why mine's so expensive and all this stuff. And I told him like, just put it at 350. Someone will buy it. He's like, are you sure? I'm like, put it at 350, buddy. Someone will buy it. He's like, okay. He sold it at 330 the next day.
Dang.
So I was like, bro, I got for, $50 or whatever it was. But not my felt hat. I still made like $100 on the card, so it was still good. But you win, you learn, you lose. I'm happy that I had a Van Gogh. I don't. I kind of talked with this with Jackson last time, but kind of like as you grow in the space, like for me, okay, I have the Van Gogh or I had a Van Gogh. What's the next, like, I guess, kind of little grail card?
Hmm.
Is it that PSA 10, 151 SAR Charizard? Is it that maybe a Bubble Mew? So, like, kind of viewing it in tiers.
Hmm.
And then, you have your tier, then you have, oh, I got my first Moon Kitty. I got my first Poncho. I got my first whatever, yada, yada. List goes on and on.
Yeah.
Um, so I don't know if that's something that kind of you realize or something that how you view it, but that's kind of how I view at
I
least
kind of
blind
do
slots
that.
and stuff
I
like
like to, I don't really like PC a whole lot of stuff. I watched the video with Jackson and I also agreed, like, you don't really need to PC anything. Um, I've been known to call it a rotating PC.
that.
So everything that I have for sale is my personal collection until it's not,
Exactly. Exactly.
right?
Yeah.
But I do like to pick up cards that I either A, haven't owned before or like
Mm,
haven't sold before. And I will chase like a certain grail card of my own,
mm,
but for the intentions of also flipping it, right?
yeah.
So like once I got that like first poncho, I was like, oh my God, I finally own a poncho. And then I
Yeah.
had it for like 2 weeks.
Yeah. Exactly.
And then I always
So.
say everything comes back.
Mm,
My first Crystal 9 Lugia I had, I was like, oh my God,
mm,
this thing's beautiful. I'll never own the 10 because it's like 10 Gs, 12 Gs. And when I sold it, I was super bummed out. And then since then, I've sold like 5 more. So it's like everything comes back.
yeah.
So
That's
you can't get too attached because you will see it again.
exactly. Yeah. And you have it's the shiny sets, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. It's two, right? Or you have one. I don't remember.
I did have
I
2 incomplete, but they were some of these still have stickers. Some of them I still have 2 of. Like we have like 2 of the carbs.
nice.
I'm a big
How
fan of
much are the carbs
nines.
going for?
I think they're like 550 right now,
That's
but
cool.
both are swirled up. They're sick.
Nice. Why is why nines, if I may ask? I feel like I texted
So
you this, but
so for me, here, I'm gonna take this price sticker off of this Charizard. So for me, like if I have this card, right? PSA 9
mm,
Shining Charizard, it's unlim. It's like 2.2K or something right now.
mm,
I think the 10 is like 5,000, something like that,
mm,
if I just had to guess. And for me, like as a person who also just likes the cards, would I rather have like this little white speck on the corner, or would I rather spend,
mm,
3,000 more dollars to erase it? And I think the answer is always I'll take the 9 because your card quality difference to price just doesn't make sense to me. I know that, the 10 is more rare, lower pop, But like if you just like the card, I think vintage nines are where it's at for your value. I don't think that the 10 has much value.
Hmm.
Like if you, as a collector, right now, monetary purposes, yes, it's worth a lot more money. Um, but they're a lot harder to sell. I'll tell you that right now. It's got the same thing with like the black labels. They're just harder to sell because they are like thousands of dollars more when you have a nine as an option. Now for
Yeah,
modern, I wouldn't say nines because that's in this market. We're like talking about near mint raw at that point.
yeah,
Um, so modern tens for sure. But for vintage, I like nines a lot.
it's cool. That's very interesting. I haven't delved into vintage at all, just because
Vintage is my bread and
So
butter. I love it.
yeah, I'm not a big. I haven't done a lot of vintage stuff yet, but exactly like I agree, like kind of what the no PC stuff, and just collecting what you like. Like for example, I it's funny. So National, I bought some Japanese slabs, right?
Hmm.
And my brother was like, Rocco, why did you buy these pieces of junk? Like they were just like he was just like, we're not gonna do Japanese tens. They're not good in market. Like, no, we're not gonna do it. He ended up trading all three of them away for like some other stuff.
I like
But I was
Japanese
like, okay,
tens, but they have to be exclusive for me.
yeah. And he's like, so I was like, okay, fine, I won't buy a Japanese 10. But then last week I bought this in a sale.
See, that's exclusive though. That's good stuff.
Exactly. Yeah, when that's for me that I was like, okay, this is only in Japanese, correct? Or
Hmm.
is it? Yeah. And obviously, like the Pikachu, I think that it just is a good card.
Yeah, it
My,
looks good.
yeah, I bought it at 100. I think it's at like what 120 right now or something like that. Let me alt it really quick.
Sure.
Use
I
alt
was
guys
actually,
for slabs.
yeah, I literally have alt on my other because I was going to use like this card as an example
Hmm.
for like that conversation of 9 to 10 price, and like it
Hmm.
literally has one micro spec on the corner, and
Hmm.
this in current market's like 3 grand. But if you were
Hmm.
to have it in a 10, the last sold is 10,000. So you're talking about 7 grand to erase that little
Jesus.
white speck.
Dang.
But the pop does go from 424 to 69. So
Yeah. Yeah. Okay, I stand corrected. This is a $140 card now. Great. But for example, like I
stonks,
love.
baby.
Yes, exactly. Another thing, I yeah, I did a kind of a Pikachu buy, I guess.
The Pikachus
Let me
are
see if
never
I
bad to have.
yeah, I did I got these three
I always go for
Pikachus.
popular Pokemon for sure. And Pikachu's one of
I
them.
got this one. This was the big boy.
That card's going crazy, isn't it?
I think so. I bought it at like 300, I think.
That's so insane to me for just a gold. That's crazy.
If the people want it and it's worth money
No, I get it. I
and
get it. It's
I can
just,
get it, I bought
it's
all
the
three of these at
Pikachu, dude. It's the
80%.
Pikachu.
Yeah. I bought all three of these off at 80%.
Yeah, that's a good
Yo.
margin. I like to do 80% because it's not such a bad percentage where someone feels bad about it, but
These are going down though.
it's modern is taking a small dip right now because crypto's taking a small dip.
Yeah, I noticed that. Yeah.
This market always follows crypto. I don't care who tells you what. It always does, always will. All this pump in modern we had recently followed the bull market for Pokemon.
Yeah. That's no, that's so true. And we can talk about that's crazy. In August, this was $680.
Well, that's new set for you. I like to
That's
stay a set
crazy.
behind for that reason. And I know we're a
Hmm.
set behind now. We're prismatic evolutions, but it's not really a true set. It's more of like a, what do they call those? Where it's
Specialty
like,
set. Looks
yeah,
like.
specialty set.
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
it's a specialty
So
set.
once we have the next like actual box of the next set that's not a
The
specialty
Journey
set,
Togethers.
yeah, then you'll see Surging Sparks kind of set its like baseline.
Hmm.
That's why I
That's
haven't
cool.
touched a single SIR Pikachu EX yet because I'm still iffy at the 1.2K for the 10 price range.
They're still 1.2. Dang,
Yep. At least they were in
that's crazy. I
Atlanta.
yeah, I remember. I think who Abe bought one at Lighthouse at the first lighthouse I did for like I think it was like 400. It was a 9,
Yeah, well, that
and
makes
I was
sense.
like,
Yeah.
yeah, I was like, what the like
No,
what
it's
like
crazy.
we
Yeah,
just
that's
bought.
insane.
Yeah, and it was crazy. But no, I don't know how many times I will say this or someone else will say this, and it's true. Pokemon market does follow crypto,
100%.
and I'm
Always
a
will.
crypto bro. I'm a crypto bro. I feel like almost a lot, well, most people in the space are crypto bros or
Hmm.
crypto people. And it
XRP.
follows it. Yeah, yeah. Jackson. Oh,
No,
he
it's
was telling me
crazy.
about
We,
this.
we've
Huh?
we've been into XRP. The fiance still has hers. We rode it. We've been into it for like 3 years, 4 years. We
Crazy.
rode that bitch down to 20 cents, and we were
Dang,
buying it. Like our first buying was like 50 cents, and now it's at like
crazy.
what's it at, like 280 right now? XRP price 257.
Dang.
It just tanked again. It never seems to like stay around right now. It's very volatile. Yeah, 280 on Saturday. But I
That's
mean,
crazy.
she's so up it doesn't even matter, right? It's just
Yeah,
her average buy-in price is probably like 80 cents or something.
yeah. I have a lot of Cardano, and I
I used to
have
have
just been.
Cardano.
Yeah, I am. I bought that at like I think it was like 150
It's so
or
funny
one.
hearing all
No,
these
no.
numbers.
I think it was like I bought it at like or 110. I think like $1.10, right?
Right.
And now it's up. It might be up. I don't know how it is, but I also am now because there's a bunch of crypto bros in my school. Well, not school, but my like school community,
Hmm.
and they're actually not any of the teenagers, but one of the adults. He's like he works at Google and does all this stuff, and he knew Bitcoin back in like 2008. Like he was buying Bitcoin in 2008.
Oh yeah. I made my
Like
first
nobody's
Bitcoin when I was in middle school playing a video
really,
game. I think it was middle
really.
school, late middle school, yeah.
That's crazy.
And it was worthless. It was so
Yeah,
worthless at the time. And I don't even know where it's at. I have 2 Bitcoin and I don't know where it's at.
that's crazy.
It's so funny to think of. Like I
Yeah,
used to play a game and we would like power level people to like the end of the game so they could like play the fun part of the game.
yeah,
And we would get paid in Bitcoin because it was worthless, but it was internet money, right?
yeah.
So yeah, I have 2 Bitcoin floating around somewhere in the nether.
That's crazy.
But back then, like
Um,
worthless. I think it was I looked at what it was worth. I was like, oh, I just got paid like $1 for this. That's crazy. I'm never
yeah,
doing that again, and I just quit doing it.
that's crazy. But but anyway, he does a lot of crypto stuff, and he's doing a project, and I'm helping on that. So
If you look
fun
at the
stuff.
crypto charts and you pull up like charts for like slabs and stuff, you'll see
Hmm.
literally to a
They'll
T,
match.
like it'll match. It's if
Yeah,
the crypto takes down, you'll see alt sales lower. Once it goes
yeah.
back up, which I think March is our deadline for alt season, you'll see another big rise. And then
Alt season.
after,
What do you mean by that?
so alt season's like we're kind of in it right now where you've seen a lot of alternative coins like altcoins like XRP,
Oh yeah,
Cardano,
yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah.
not Bitcoin, Ethereum, right? So
Uh,
alt season, we're kind of in it right now. We've seen like a lot of these booms in alt season. The projection from like the TA guy I watch, which you should watch too, his name's the blockchain backer,
mhm.
um, predicts, with everything lining up, it should be by the end of March, the market's going to be dead. So look to
I
be
think
out of it
that's
by
what
March, like the end of
like crypto
March.
stuff.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I think that's what I think that's what Jackson was saying too, like with Pokemon stuff. Like he's trying to like he thinks in March stuff is gonna start to go down a little bit.
Yep.
Which would make sense. And that's how so for example, like for your PSA 10 or I guess I feel like PSA 10 Charizard, maybe that is like too high. Your Moon Beyond, for example, is like
Oh, it's getting taking
is
a
like
beating.
an Ethereum. Yeah, or it's like, it's like an Ethereum or it's like a Bitcoin or something like that.
Hmm.
But then you have your alt art. What was the card that blew up? You have your alt art Drowsies, right? That became,
Crazy.
$20 cards overnight or for whatever. You have your Chanseys,
That's like your altcoin.
like yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
That's what I was getting at. And it's just interesting. It's funny to see how market trends work like that, and it's good for market prediction in a way. And it's just fun to do, fun to have.
My thing is
Anyway,
nowadays it's too easy to kind of track. Like you have a lot of really good TA guys that you can't guarantee anything, right? Like a world event could happen and then it just tanks. But it's so tracked now that it's kind of like everybody already expects it.
yeah,
So, you can manipulate that information too, to where
yeah,
you could play it in your favor. So I don't know
yeah,
how the crypto space is going to do 10 years from now, right? Because it's just,
yeah,
plus the gas fees are crazy if you transfer. Like,
yeah.
it's too crazy. That's why XRP is really good because there's like hardly any fees for transferring.
Mhm. Or something. Have you do you, when you're at a show or Instagram or whatever, do you accept like crypto as payment, but like a USD, like a stable coin or something like that?
No, no one,
No.
most people aren't into crypto. So I don't have like a cold storage wallet to send to or anything like that. No. I've seen it, but I don't like the ups and downs. I just like the
Yeah,
cash.
yeah, no, that's fair.
Cash is king in our hobby, for sure.
No, that's so true. And also, it's, I don't want to say tax evasion, but tax,
Yeah.
tax, you know, you don't got Uncle Sam staring down you if you got
Well, it's
cash.
also just easier to buy something from someone else when you have cash.
Yeah. So, yeah, that's really, yeah, crazy. Um, well, I was gonna go. So, the card I sold at the National was my Charizard, my Evolutions Charizard. So, a little segment I like to have in every podcast is like, what is your first, pretty much your first Charizard? What's your first high valued card that you either bought or sold, and like was a real made you have a realization that you're like, oh wow, I'm really in this, like for real.
The biggest turning point for me in like that moment where I was like, I'm gonna do this full on, it's like it's not even a card, it was a box. So I
Hmm.
bought a first edition Team Rocket booster box, sealed,
Okay.
and I want to say I paid like 6 grand for it at the time. And this was back in like 2020, 2021. Like things were starting to brew up, but nothing crazy had happened quite yet. And I remember I met up with this lady. This was back when I lived in Florida. I met up with her. She had it on the trunk of her car. And I was like, dude, this thing is so tiny. I'm about to spend like 6 grand on this little box of cardboard. That's crazy to me. And this is after I'd flipped a few collections, right? And I'd had that
Hmm.
money and I was like, I want to buy something cool for myself. And that was it. I saw it. She had two of them. Couldn't afford both of them. I tried, but I could not. Um, Picked it up. I remember driving back home. It was like in my passenger seat, had a little pillow, stuff to like make sure it didn't like fall into the floor, like break the seal. I was so nervous about it. And I just remember I just kept looking at it as I'm driving down the interstate and I'm like, dude, I'm such an idiot. I just spent like $6,000 on this box. And like, what am I gonna do with this thing? It's just gonna sit on my shelf. And so like fast forward, I think 3 months, Logan Paul starts like doing the Pokemon thing.
Hmm.
All of a sudden people see my box on Instagram. They're like, yo, sell me this box. I had like famous YouTubers be like, yo, let me fly it to California and break this box. Like, let's do something with this box. And I'm like, holy hell, man, like this is crazy. And so the price went to like 18,000. One of the guys that ran the like waffle Facebook group that I was part of just so happened to live like half an hour down the street from me. So he ended up meeting me. He gave me his car keys. He's like, yo, let me see the box. I handed it over. He handed me his car keys and he bought it for 18,000 cash right then and there. And
Dang, bro.
I took that money home and it's the first time I saw like that much money. I was like, dude, this is crazy.
Yeah.
So I
You
just,
what? You tripled your investment.
yeah, exactly. Over the course of just like having this thing that I liked for 3 months, like it wasn't fully about the profit on that purchase, but it got
Hmm.
to the point to where it was so high that I couldn't say no. So I take the money home and I'm looking at it, I'm like, dude, this is so much money. That's crazy. And that's the first time I saw like real money in the hobby. And I was like, dude, I'm just gonna keep doing this forever. So I just used that money and I bought more stuff, graded some
Yep.
cards, kept flipping it, and just it's been
Dang.
crazy ever since, man. I mean, it's died
Dang.
down a lot since then, but it's picking back up now. We're
Yeah.
basically in
No.
2020.
Yeah. That's
But that was
crazy.
it. The first edition Rocket Box, that's what got me
That's crazy. That's
crazy. It was insane.
yeah. That's wow. That's
I think,
awesome. And you know,
and then I
you
was a
spent
big
six.
blister collector.
Oh, really?
You like blisters? Like the packs
Yeah.
with the back, like the
Yeah.
cardboard
Yeah.
backing? I
Yeah.
loved them. Let's see if I can find the picture of them. I don't know how well it's going to translate on camera, but back then, dude, the times were crazy, man. I sold
Yeah.
an art set of base set blisters for $6,000. Base set Charizard nines were doing like 5-6 grand at the time.
Sorry.
Now they're like
That's
1,400.
yeah. It's wild. And
What
like
got, what
you
got
spent
you?
six.
What got you? What was your first like? Oh, like this is
Well, it
crazy.
was that it was at the national.
Hmm.
And it was a card I bought. I bought like an Evolutions Charizard, and I was like, wow, like this is like my first like literal Charizard
Yeah,
in a way. And I bought that, and I was like, okay, you know what, Rocco, we're in this. But now, like the first card I sold, hmm, probably the Van Gogh or the Zapdos because I had a Zapdos EX I sold,
love that card. So pretty.
and yeah,
Is that about
the
the
SIR,
151?
yeah, the
Love that
SIR.
card.
I um I think it's beautiful.
I think it's the best
Um
card in the set artwork wise for sure.
yeah, because it's just really cool. Um and that was just because like, you see the cash like spread out on the thing, like
Yeah,
in your picture, and I'm
money
like,
spread.
dang. Yeah, yeah. Like it's like, dang bro, like you
Here it is,
actually
by the
like
way. That's what got me
that's
started.
so cool. That's so cool.
So sketchy back then, but luckily it
Yeah.
was real.
Yeah, no, that's cool.
Sorry to cut you off.
That's
I just
no,
found the
you're good.
picture, so.
No, that's all good. But yeah, for me that selling wise was probably the stuff I sold at this national.
Well, I mean, those cards are
Um,
pretty big. Like you're 16, right?
yeah,
Yeah, like I I did have a $300 card when I was 16. That's crazy, right? Like
no,
I'm sure a lot of the kids at your school definitely don't, right? So 300
yeah,
bucks
no.
on a single card at your age is crazy for sure.
Yeah, well, for me it was like it was also a big calling point for my brother too, because he was like, "Wait, Rocco, you're telling me we have 2K in inventory right now on this table?" I'm like, "Yeah, we do."
Almost a beater
And
car, sort of, yeah.
yeah, well, that's the goal, flipping for a car.
It happens really
So
fast,
yeah,
especially if you're vending
it
shows.
does.
The percent
Yeah,
stacking is crazy.
exactly. I'm trying to do Lighthouse this weekend. I don't know yet though because of ride stuff, but need to,
I'll be
I'm
there.
trying to
I
do
just won't
Lighthouse.
be a vendor. I'm just going, that's my birthday, so I'm just going to go and see if I can
Oh,
find something cool.
well, cool. That's really cool. Yeah, but that's the goal for this buy a car, flip for a car. And yeah, so seeing that stuff and what was I gonna say? No, like exactly like the business right now is for me now I'm in the range of like 50 to like $200 slabs,
Hmm.
like is where I'm kind of in right now. I
It's a
have
good
some stuff
range.
being I have some stuff being graded um that can be like $500 slabs.
Hmm.
So that will definitely be good when they come back in, 20 years. Um,
Yeah,
and
GameStop is definitely slowing that process down.
yeah, I'm but yeah, seeing all that cash and like for example, the Pikachu order I did, that was like a almost $400 deal. And like for me, I'm like it was really humbling because I was like, wow, like I'm at a point where I can just, spend 400 bucks on Pokemon and the next day I sell 300.
Right.
So it's not, I'm making it's just constantly rinsing and repeat, rinse and repeat.
Hmm. A lot of
So
people
stuff
look
like
at
that.
when they buy a card, they're like losing money. But I just
Yeah.
look at if I bought something, it's just tied up in an asset, right? It's not
Yeah,
gone, right? It's gonna
exactly.
retain or grow. So
Yeah.
I'll spend so much money on Pokemon these days, dude.
Yeah.
It's not even a thing.
And
It's like it's gold and
it's
silver,
like
right?
exactly. And it's like what was I gonna say? Um, yeah, and it's like a business expense, you know.
Hmm.
If you have a lawnmower business, you're gonna have to pay for your lawnmower. You're gonna have to pay for oil. You're gonna have to pay, you know, if you're driving around different neighborhoods, you're gonna have to pay for gas. It's the same stuff, you know.
Hmm.
It's just our our business expenses are cases with slabs
Yep,
in it,
exactly.
slabs and sealed product. Like that's all it is. And vendor whatever like tags.
Hmm.
Like that's all it is. So that's yeah, but definitely very humbling. I mean, right now I'm definitely trying to buy a lot more as well.
It's hard to buy right now. It's
Just
very
because
hard to buy.
no, it is. I was talking to this guy on Facebook. He had some stuff in the Nashville chat, and I texted him, and he was trying to sell it at like 95% market. I'm like, yeah, not bad. I'm not gonna
Right.
do that.
I can
But
go up to
no, it's crazy.
90%, but it needs to be something very good. It needs to
Mhm.
be like a mini grail, like a $3,000 card or something. Then I'll spend
Yeah,
90% because that 10% margin
yeah,
is $300.
yeah,
And then you hope to
exactly.
trade out of it for another 20% margin. So you get a 30% flux on that, right?
Yeah,
But that has to be like ponchos or good stuff.
cool. Do you got ponchos right now in your
I
possession?
sold my last poncho in Atlanta. I had a Carp 10, but I don't like ponchos personally. I do not like them at all.
Really?
No.
Cool.
Your average person doesn't buy them. The only people that I've ever sold a poncho to are other vendors, which
Really?
usually want to buy them at 90%. Um, yeah, they're like this weird trade bait thing with other vendors. Like I've had maybe 5 or 6 of them at this point, and every single time they go to another vendor, and I just trade out.
Really?
Hmm.
That's
I think
interesting.
ponchos, I think they're really inflated right now too. Um, and I don't trust in their values anymore. I think they're
Mhm.
just too high. Every
Cool.
every higher end vendor, you have an experienced collecticon, but a lot of the high end vendors, they all have ponchos and they just sit around. They just trade them with each other. Basically, is what happens with them. It's the weirdest thing
So
ever. Yeah,
it's like a bargaining chip or
exactly.
like a little like a it's the gas fee, bringing it back to the
Yeah,
crypto
yeah, for sure.
excuse.
It's the Bitcoin
That's
gas fee.
yeah, that's interesting. I've never heard that take on ponchos.
Yeah, don't like them. I
I've
hate them.
only
I like
seen
the
it.
mini ponchos, like the little Eevee wearing hat
The
ones.
baby ones. Yeah,
Yeah, the little
yeah.
half arts. Those are cool.
I had the opportunity to buy one, but then I never texted the guy back on Instagram.
I'm hunting currently
So
a
I was
PSA
like,
10 set of the Eevee ones. I got the Umbreon, and now we're looking for the rest because I wanted to get the hard one out of the way first.
hey, the ones with the. You're talking about like the Volpic, alone with Volpics and those ones,
No, no,
right?
no. Hold
Or
on.
is that different? So,
I got a picture for you. They're the EVs that are wearing the poncho hats instead of I get it in the mail next week, but these ones.
oh, okay. I know what you're talking about.
Love them. I
Interesting.
love them. Um, I think they have a lot of room to grow. Half arts are still
How
fun.
where are they in like price range?
The Umbreon I picked up at 1100. I
So
think
they're still
market's
in
like
that, huh?
1300 though, so and they haven't really seen like a big jump like all this other modern stuff has either. So I'm trying to get them before they do.
Hmm.
I think another sleeper is X and Y, black and white, full arts.
Yeah, yeah.
Love them.
I
One of
mean,
my
didn't
favorite
the
eras.
no, X and Y is
The
awesome.
megas are
Didn't
going
the
crazy.
yeah, the megas are going the Primal Groudon and
Hmm.
the Kyogre.
And the Ray
Those
is
two I know,
huge.
right? Yeah, that's really cool. That's no, I love X and Y. That's when I started. Well, the first time I started, I've started Pokemon twice, but or three times, I guess. Two as a
You
competitive
never get
player,
out of
and then
it. You'll always be in it.
no, well, no. For me, my goal is to have a shop, so
Hmm.
so I don't plan on leaving anytime soon. This is um,
Here's my dedication, bro. I got a Gyarados on my arm.
that's sick. That's Raj, do you know Tricky Jim or Andrew Mahone?
Oh yeah, yeah.
Have you seen any of his
I
Yeah.
played next to him at some regionals in Peoria.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
Really?
yeah.
That's actually really cool. That's he's the like PokeTuber that I originally got, he has that huge Gyarados tattoo on his back. I don't know if you've ever seen that.
Yeah, he's
But is
cool. He's
Gyarados
a
your
cool
favorite
guy.
Pokemon?
Oh, for sure. Yeah.
Cool. That's awesome. That's Gyarados is a cool guy.
I have
That's
like weird stuff of Gyarados. Like these are like arcade chips from Japan.
oh, that's really cool.
So I just like little Gyarados stuff. Most of my PC is like odds and ends stuff. Here, I'll show you something
Yeah,
really cool. I told you I'd show you some cool stuff.
yeah.
I love stuff like
Like,
this. So have you ever seen
whoa, that's
these?
really cool. Wow. It's like
So
a Pokedex.
it's like a little Pokedex that you do with stickers.
Wow.
Yeah. So you know Pokemon,
Interesting. Did
once you
you?
complete the regular side, of course, there's like other variants like
Yeah.
prism. You're familiar with like the prism patterns?
Yeah.
So they look like that.
Yeah, that's really cool.
So I like stuff like this for like my PC because it's just like stuff you don't
Cool.
see every day.
Yeah,
Isn't that cool?
that's really cool. Yeah, that's really cool.
Then my boy Gary right
That's
there.
yeah, sick.
So I like stuff
That's
like this.
cool. My my brother, same thing. Like we don't have a PC, but our PC is our like library of decks that we have.
Yeah,
You know,
that's awesome.
competitive decks or stuff like that's our my brother like because he wants to own the shop too. Um,
Hmm.
he or have part of it or run one of the shops that we're gonna have.
Shops are
He's
cool.
like, yeah, he's he's like Rocco, our PC or my PC, it's going to be all the blinged out decks that I want, and it's going to be all the like the band stuff. I'm going to have all the band playables in there. You know, we're just going to make the most busted decks, and we're just going to play, and it's going to like do it, bro. I really cool. I want to
The
be
game
like
is
a
fun. I love playing the game.
yeah.
I
What
just don't have much
do you
time
have
for it
a
anymore.
do you have like a place you to go to or
Yeah, I mean my buddy Ronnie has TNLG. That's his shop.
oh
Um,
you know the that's our LGS.
yeah, Ronnie's super cool. I met him years ago playing Magic at the
Oh
Game
really
Cave, and then he bought TNLG. Yeah, him and
cool
a couple of friends bought it out. And then I go to tabletops. That's where I'd like to play the most. I think the tabletops group is a lot more just chill. It's like a cool little. It's a smaller shop, so it's got like a little mom and pop vibes to it.
cool
But I love
yeah
playing. I tried to do like the whole try to go to Worlds thing last year.
yeah
So hard. It's so tough.
yeah. Yeah. That's crazy, and you're doing that in Well, I guess it's easier because you know it's all the same thing, or
No, I had to stop because of
relatively the same
vending.
thing.
Basically, it's like
Yeah,
I'm spending too much money trying to travel to these events playing Pokemon, but I can't
yeah,
also travel to do vending because it's just too much expense.
yeah,
So I just set it aside and I'll play on live every now and then, but I can't do like the super hardcore competitive. They made it harder to get to Worlds this year too, so
oh yeah. They it's like 600 CP, I think, or something. I don't know.
they made it
You
harder
have to
to
have a
like
lot of player
obtain your
points.
points,
Yeah,
which makes sense because
yeah,
they don't need 4,000, 5,000 people at Worlds. That's crazy.
yeah. No, Worlds is supposed to be, you know, like what, like 300 tops or something like that, or
It's supposed to
1,000
just be
tops.
like the
So,
best of the best, and there's no shot that
hmm
5,000 players should be there.
yeah. So very, very true. I love competitive. I haven't obviously played in a while, um, because sold more stuff. But when my brother and I we have a free Saturday, you know, that's what we do. We'll usually
What
put
do you
on the
play?
regional and say, I play. Okay, so right now we just built Maridon because Maridon just won. What was it? Houston? No, not Houston. It was some like one in South America. So I've
What's
been
Tricky's friend's name? He plays it all the time, right on. What's his name?
Jesse.
Jesse Parker.
Yeah,
Was
Jesse
he
Parker.
playing
Yeah.
it?
No, it was Azul.
Okay, Azul.
Yeah.
Love Azul too.
You met Azul?
I saw him at the regionals.
That's sick.
You just run
That's
into
really cool.
everybody's there, dude, because
Yeah.
everybody's trying to go to Worlds. So
Yeah, I want to have those guys on the pod sometime because I want to also put the competitive side in and all that stuff too. So I would love to have those guys on. But yeah,
Rhydon's
Azul won with
fast.
him right on. Yeah, and then I played Lost Box as well.
Ugh, that's the deck that I made. made me kind of quit the game. I was like, dude, everybody's playing
But you
Lost
probably,
Box. It was so annoying. Giratina Lost Box,
yeah.
so
I
annoying,
play
dude. So
the,
annoying.
I play Turbo. So like what Kyogre's version was, if you went against
Hmm.
Lost Box Kyogre, I played that version pretty much, and I've played that version for God knows how
Guess what I play?
long. Right now, what Charizard?
Snorlax, baby, stall.
Oh, you're a stall player, of course.
Yeah,
Nice.
yep.
My brother's a control player. I hate control.
I love control.
Uh, yeah. Well, because you're a control player.
Hmm. I played a lot of
Yeah.
Blue and Magic, which is the same thing, so it transitioned to
Oh, really?
Pokemon. Anytime I can play like a weird off meta, like I like off meta a lot. If you know
So what you played
Long,
like?
Long is the same way. He likes off meta.
You played like what Single Strike Urshifu or something like that when it
I
was
played
out?
some of it, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah,
I didn't
no,
really like that
I
deck a
don't
whole
get it.
lot, but
Yeah,
I played
this
some of it.
I so this is I played Mew VMAX.
That's a
Then
really good, it's very fast deck.
I transitioned to Lost Box, like Turbo Lost Box,
Hmm.
and then I am now in like Miraidon. So I like very fast, aggressive decks that just hit hard, do a lot of damage, win very quickly. My brother plays more combo decks. Like right now, he has Gardevoir, Regidrago, and Lugia built. Which
Hmm.
Lugia is more of a beat stick deck, but he just plays Lugia because he
Right.
loves Lugia. But yeah. So
I'm gonna miss
very
Lugia.
interesting
I
right
played
now.
a lot of Lugia too.
Yeah,
It's rotating like soon.
yeah. It's in April, I think, with
Hmm.
the release of Journey Together or whatever it is.
I don't know
That's
what Reddy's gonna do. He's been Lugia
yeah,
forever, so it'll be
yeah,
interesting to see what Reddy picks up. Probably Gardevoir.
probably. Well, the Curlios get taken out.
Oh, true. Yeah, their whole draw engine's gonna get
Yeah,
just wrecked.
yeah.
They'll
So I
probably
don't.
print something.
Yeah, but yeah. Yeah. We play a lot of Gym Leader Challenge too, if you know what that is.
Hmm. I've never played, but
GLC.
I love the concept of it.
Yeah. So pretty much magic like Commander, but in
Hmm.
Pokemon. Very fun. I play a lot of that. I'm a big Psychic player, which pretty much Psychic is like the most powerful type, but it has multiple ways you can play it. So I play a combo one that revolves in damaging one of your Pokemon, and then that Pokemon being damaged does a lot more attack.
Mm. Yeah, I need to play
So
GLC. I haven't played it, but I love the
yeah,
concept of it. Super cool.
yeah. We have like what like I think we have like 13 decks built
That's awesome.
for it. So yeah, so that's our PC.
I heard some of those
Um,
GLC decks can get pretty pricey too because you need like
oh
really
yeah,
old staples.
yep. That's why I'm starting TCG player probably this week. And I'll be posting like GLC stuff and
Hmm.
hyper modern stuff, just to facilitate that market. But yeah, that's why we play min rarity right now. Just everything is like minimum rarity,
Sure.
no shiny, nothing shiny because
Well, you can't do max rarity because then
keep
you'd
it
need
simple.
those plasma ultra balls that
Yeah,
are like 400 a piece or whatever.
yeah, exactly.
Crazy, man.
So
Crazy.
yeah, and there's people that'll do that, and yeah, I'd rather spend that 400 in a couple slabs than
Oh, for sure.
fill
Yeah,
it up and
100%.
fill it up and all that stuff.
I was a
But
max rarity
that's
player when I played just because if I didn't want them,
yeah,
I would just sell them. So,
exactly.
but
Yeah,
it
that
was
makes
nice
sense.
like having a handful of like really nice cards.
Yeah, and if you riffle, then it makes it even better.
Right. That
So
was me in
so
Magic. My commander deck was like $9,000 and people would just be like, "Are those real dual lands?" I'm like, "Yes, they are." And they'd be like, "Oh my God, dude, that's crazy."
so how okay. So how because I don't know if I want to get into Magic, but I my brother is fascinated with Commander. He
Love
wants to really
Commanders, the
like
best
get
format.
into it.
Hmm.
How do you justify that? Like how do you slowly build that over time, or did you just like cash out like 9K and like this is what I'm gonna play?
It's slow. A lot of it was lands. So if you're familiar, you
Yeah,
use
I know
lands,
the
right?
dual lands are yeah,
I had a collection where I wanted to get every dual land in near mint condition, and I just would binder like reserve list cards. Um, and this was at the same time I was doing Pokemon and Yu-Gi-Oh stuff, so I was spending too much money everywhere at the time. But I built up a collection of reserve list cards, which a lot of those reserve list cards are for CEDH. It's like the competitive commander.
Mm.
And those games usually end or they're done by turn 4. Um,
Wow.
but you get access to a bunch of really fun cards like Dual Lands or like Grim Monoliths, Gaia's Cradle, which is like $1,000 land. And it's just it's a different game at that point. I just had a
Mm.
small group of friends who are also CEDH level, and we would just go jam some games at the game cave. But it was definitely a small like overtime thing. I didn't just like, oh, here's $9,000. I want a deck, please.
Yeah.
I was already buying reserve
For
list
me,
cards as like an investment, right?
yeah,
I still
that's
want a
cool.
Black Lotus one day. One day. Like,
That and your Rolex, right?
mm-hmm. Yeah, that'll
That'll be.
happen. Like, no, I almost did the Rolex thing, but I bought Crystal Nines. That's what I bought with that Rolex money.
No. You who did it? There was someone who recently did that. I reposted it on my story.
Uh,
But some guy like traded
Fab, what's his
Pikachu
name?
for a Rolex.
What's his
You know who
name?
I'm talking about, though.
I know exactly what you're talking about. It's God, what's his name? Hold on a second. It's bothering me that I can't remember his name. He has purple hair right now. I saw him in Atlanta.
Hmm.
Just can't remember his name. It's Fab. Fab's TCG is the Instagram. Yeah, right here.
Yeah. That I put that on my I put that on my personal account, and people were like, "Bro, Rock, you're crazy." Like,
Nah, that's the
there's
move.
there's no, that's no, it is,
I
bro.
think his name's
It's
Shar. I want to say
yeah.
I think it's Shar, or maybe it's Char's
I
twin. I can't remember. It's so awful with remembering names.
Yeah, being with my brother too in this, like me and him watch a lot of like Clover Cards and all their stuff since they're also two brothers.
Okay.
Um, or at least the faces are. I don't know. Obviously, not everyone there, but he's like he's like Rocco. We'll get the roll matching Rolexes.
You
We'll
got it,
pull up at
dude.
the
You
shop or
got it.
at the convention. So that'll be in probably like a couple years time. Um,
It's funny
but
because like you see
uh,
all the higher end like vendors, they all have a
mm,
Rolex on.
yeah,
It's like part of the uniform, right?
uniform. Yeah,
People take you
so
more seriously when you have higher end stuff and you're wearing a Rolex. That's just how
yeah,
it is.
exactly.
And
But
there's a guy actually that I don't know if you know who Ben is, but kind of famous collectibles. He I think he's a Rolex dealer. He like works at a shop that sells Rolexes. So
really,
he does a lot of Pokemon for Rolex deals.
oh really?
So Ben's your
That's
guy.
cool.
He's probably where I'm gonna get my Rolex from whenever I do decide to get one.
Cool. That's I'll put that name down. Ben Rolex. All right, that's really cool. Tony, who kind of works as a mentor for me right now.
It's the
I mean, you
Boba
know
Shop
Tony.
owner, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. He's me and him because we're very like-minded, like business related. He is like he actually challenged me to do a 5K month this month, and I'm like just shy of it. So revenue, obviously, but he's really because last month, so it's crazy, and that's just like a testament to scalability. And I know we're getting a little long,
No, I'm
um,
totally I can
but
cruise for another hour and a half. It doesn't matter to me.
okay, but I know this is probably something you can attest to, but the amount of time it takes to scale on this is crazy, like is unreal. Like you can
Stupid
scale
fast.
like really super fast, exactly.
Hmm.
And like last month was a $500 month for me, and now it's like I what like 10x that I think if the math is right.
Well, you did your show, right? And then the show is probably
Yeah,
like 3K, 4K, something like that if I had to
yeah,
guess.
it was like two and a half,
Yeah.
which I came in wanting 1K, and I
You
came
always
out
gotta aim
I
low
crunched
so
the
whenever you crush it, you just like amazing.
well because for me I was like 1K, okay, that's like half my inventory,
Hmm.
that's for me that's reasonable, for a whole weekend. And I knew CollectaCon was happening, so there would be more higher end people would leave for that,
Hmm.
and other stuff factors. And I came and I did the spreadsheets, and I was like, I did it, and I added all the numbers up, and I was like my jaw dropped, and I was like, Luke, my brother's name's Luke. I was like, Luca, do you know how much you did? He's like, what, like 1K? I was like, we did $2,500, and he was like, what the, like he like just we were. going crazy.
Yeah. Well, you don't think
Um,
about it because over those 3 days, you're trading in stuff and then selling that stuff or trading the stuff out that you traded for. And then that's where your
yeah,
percent stacking just starts going through the roof.
exactly.
Because you end
And
up
we
being
were just
into a
like,
card at like
what?
10% and then you cash it
Yeah,
out at 90%. Like you're at 80% profit margin on this one card. And let's say it's a $300 card, right?
yeah. It's just we were like, what? And
Mm-hmm.
obviously, I know that's like a couple cards for you, but just like for
It
us,
doesn't matter what it is, bro. All of it sells. It's just time.
yeah, yeah. So that's anyway, we got off on a tangent from Magic, but I I that's something that I probably would like to get into later down the road. At least just have one commander deck.
It's fun. It's a
Probably
good game.
some like red deck because again I like
You
fast
should
aggressive, but there is a
do
guy.
goblins. If you're gonna play
That's yeah,
red,
the
do
goblins.
Krenko.
Goblins are yeah,
Krenko is
yeah,
so good for like no money because all the goblins are very cheap
are cheap.
common cards. But Krenko
Yeah.
itself as a commander is so strong that every time you tap him, you basically create a token equal to the number of goblins you have. So every turn,
Mhm.
it's bigger and bigger. So if you had five, it's
It's a
you're gonna
swarm
make
deck.
five more. Next turn you have 10, you're
Yeah.
gonna make 10 more.
Yeah.
Yeah, Krenko's fun.
Swarm goblin deck. That's
Yep,
what I was thinking about. Yeah.
Krenko's
Um,
very good.
type of thing. We'll have to sit down and play sometime. But that's it's really cool.
So you had
That's
fun at your show. You liked it? Your
oh
first
yeah,
big
I had
show.
so much fun. Yes.
That was your first show ever,
That
right?
was no well I had done
Vending.
Lighthouse.
Okay. Oh, right,
I
right. I
vended
think
at
I saw
Lighthouse.
you. Who were you with? Were you with
That's where we
Abe?
first met Abe.
Yeah.
Yeah. Abe hit me up on Wednesday and that Wednesday and he was like, "Hey, you want to do this?" And I'm like, that's in like 3 days, right?" He's like, "Yeah, it's in 3 days." I'm like, "Sure, whatever. Let's do it. Let's run it." I didn't even have a case.
No, I know. I
That's
think you
how.
had
I
like a
wonder.
binder out and like maybe like a box or two or something on the table.
Yeah, let me. I wonder if I can share this screen to this. But I've done that, and I've done three. No, I've done 2 win days, 2 win boba trade days,
I haven't been over there for trade
which
days yet.
they're fun. They're they're like 200, $100 days, like nothing like crazy, crazy, but it's fun. Let's see. Can I? Oh, I have to find the photo too. This might take a while.
Is it your
Uh,
table on your first
yeah,
show?
yeah. Let me
It's funny. I
get
posted
the.
my first show a few days or maybe like last week on my
Oh, that.
Instagram, and it was crazy to look back and see the progress,
Yeah.
right?
Well,
I
because
think I
now I
had
have
one
three
little display
cases.
case.
Yeah, I have 3 cases now. I can
And
fill
that's
two up,
awesome, right?
but I have three. Yeah, exactly, and it's like once again,
It's like a
it's
physical
crazy
way to
to
see your growth too, because you're like, wow,
yeah,
like I had like a binder and some boxes, and now I have three display cases.
exactly. Let me
It's
see if I
crazy to
can
see.
open this
Here
in
was my
any
first
tab.
vending. October 29th, 2022 was my first show. I did the national, and I rolled in with one little display case, not even full, with some raw cards and a binder.
Nice,
That was it, dude.
nice.
That was it.
That's well. In my mind, this was also something for the national. And let's see, like okay. In my mind, I thought that was going to be me this national.
Hmm.
Like that's how I had set the expectation for myself. Like but so having 2 full cases pretty much for a whole weekend, and then having a third one like 20% full, and then Abe filled the rest up with his stuff that he needed. Like for me, I was like, dang, I have it. Let me how do I share screen? Bam. All right. You see this?
Yep.
That was it.
Just
Not even a
top loaders
display
on a
case.
tablecloth, bro.
Yeah. So that is.
That's
There's
awesome.
some decent stuff
And
in there.
it's cool to see
All.
that, right? Compared to like where you're at now.
Yeah.
It's just crazy, right? Because it's just like
Yeah.
surreal. Because you don't even
Yeah.
remember that probably until you look at the picture and you're like, dude, I've come so far.
Yeah. Yeah. And like now I have. That's probably out of all the cards that are on that table, I probably have like maybe one or two, you know. But
Sure.
pretty much this is what my raw stock looks like right now. So it's nothing, obviously nothing crazy. But
I don't
out of
even
all that
carry
stuff,
raws anymore myself.
yeah, that's for me as well. Like now the raw range that I'm even in is like I don't want to say higher end raw, but you know, like anywhere above
20
like
plus.
10 to like, yeah, 20 plus, like stuff like this.
Hmm.
And
Good
stuff
stuff.
like at my first show. So yeah, stuff that's gonna sell. Um, so that's like at that show, my first show, you know, everything on the table was nothing was up. I think my most expensive card was like $40.
Hmm.
And for me, I remember I did a buy with now one of my friends. I bought a $60 card off him. And I was like, oh my goodness, this is like such a big risk. And then it's just now like now to me like $60, you know, it's what 80 you're buying. Let's say I bought that 80%. That's like
So you're buying like $68 or whatever. Or well, if
yeah,
it's 60
yeah, well,
bucks, you're buying it like, what was that, 50, 48,
yeah, something like that. But
quick $12.
now that's
But then
just
someone trades
yeah,
you
exactly.
80%,
Yeah.
and then you're
And
up
then you
another
get more
12
stuff.
bucks. So it's actually
Yeah,
72 instead of 60.
yeah.
So you're into it
But
for 48. You've made 72. So
this
I
is
actually I made the
split.
decision. My last Collecticon I did in Atlanta, the same day you did the
Mm-hmm.
Nashville show, was an interesting one for me because it was the first show I did without any raws. It was full slab,
Mm-hmm.
and I just wanted to see how it did.
How do you think that it did better than having raw? Or do
The
you think
numbers were
raw
very good.
brings
Um, what ended up making me shift to just slab is the
mm-hmm.
past few Collecticons where I did have raw. You have all these people that want to come to your booth and like find gradable raw. Even if you
Yeah,
say like, "Oh, I grade all these are nines," they still want to look. And then what ends up happening is this
they
happens
clog it.
over and over, right? Where they're taking up an entire
Mm-hmm.
display case to look through each card. They just hand you the stack back and say thanks, and then they move on. And this would eat
Yeah,
up like 2 hours of my show, where it's just like I'm losing an entire
yeah,
display case and wasting 2 hours of my show for nothing. And with
yeah.
slabs, that doesn't happen. It is what it is. You can't really say, "Oh, this is
Yeah,
LP not near mint," right?
no.
So that's why I made the switch.
So that's cool. That's interesting.
But
Yeah,
for you and like
that's
these
really cool.
smaller shows, not as good, right? Like you can't. You have to have some raws for like little local
Well, yeah,
shows.
and that's like for me, like as well. I have, you know, lower end slabs, mostly because that's what's in my price range right now.
Hmm.
But also, like,
Well,
you
here
know,
at
I
these
have,
smaller shows, they move like it's like hotcakes, right?
yeah, like I have like stuff like this, you know.
Yeah. No, I love that
Bought
card. That's like what, 100
bought this
bucks,
at,
80 bucks,
I bought it at 40, so I
40
don't know
bucks,
where it's at right
even
now, but
better.
I know I bought it. Yeah. Um, like stuff like this, like I bought this at 60, it's like $80, you know.
Oh,
Stuff
it's
like this I
a
will sell.
great slab.
Um, yeah. So
I like smaller
stuff
slabs
like
too.
that. Yeah, I have but that's kind of where I'm at right now with that.
Yeah, when
But
I set up at a
yeah.
local show now, like the last Lighthouse show I did, I it wouldn't have been like as great of a show if someone
Mhm.
bought a $3,000 Pikachu off of me at the Lighthouse, which is
Awesome.
crazy. I would never expect
Yeah.
that. But
Well, that's the caliber that's coming to.
yeah, that saved my show for sure.
Yeah.
Because I don't have any raws. If I
Mhm.
had raws, I'd have so many people just like buying raws, right?
Yeah.
Raws do move. It's just at Collecticon they eat up a lot more time than I'm willing to deal with nowadays.
No, no, that's fair. And you also have to think like your audience, right? You're going to a Collecticon.
Hmm.
Slabs are going to
Trying to
sell better.
curate to the
You're
whales.
doing a local, exactly,
Hmm.
exactly. You're going to a local show. Your singles are probably going to sell better.
Oh,
So
for sure.
it just all depends on the type of place you're selling, thing you're going to go to. You know, depends.
Hmm. The
So
more things you have
yeah,
that, especially for local shows, the more things that you have in your display case that the entire room can afford, the better
mhm.
off you'll be.
Yeah, and that's something that Jackson first taught me, or one of the first things that he told me, I was like, wow, like it was, it was so obvious, but it was so like mind bending at the time. Whereas like if you have a full case, more people are going to stop by your booth because maybe you have something that they want,
Mm-hmm.
like it's that psychology. And I was like, oh wow, that's actually really interesting. Like I never thought about it like that.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and like it is like, have a full case, even if you have less cases,
Mm-hmm.
use that extra space for maybe a box that you have just had sitting, or whatever it is that you're selling. Um, have a camera for a vendor POV run in, whatever it might be.
Right.
Um, and yeah, that's just very to cater to your audience. Your slabs will probably sell better on Instagram than they do on eBay.
Yeah, I don't
eBay
even touch eBay.
is better to consist. So that's it. Just all depends where you're selling, who you're selling to,
Right.
etc.
And I have friends that do
Uh,
eBay full time too, and it's just lately they've been not the best with um fraudulent stuff, like people saying like, "Oh, I didn't get it in the mail," or like I had a
yep.
friend on Instagram sell a PSA 10 Magikarp, which is like $1,500, $1,400. I don't know what it exactly is right now, but it's a lot of money. Um,
Mhm.
Guy cracked the case, put a different Magikarp in there for the picture, and you could tell because the centering was so bad. Like you could obviously tell it was not the same card, but eBay still sided with him, and then my
Yep.
buddy lost his card, and he actually had to pay more money than he made because of the fees. So
Fees.
he had to
Yep.
pay the fees back. So he actually
Yep.
he lost his card and lost money, which is
Plus
crazy.
money. Yep. That's
So
why I've had many. That's why I don't deal in Yu-Gi-Oh cards anymore, especially on eBay. Is because I had, lost. Someone lost $150
I'm sure
card,
they did.
and I was like, it's like, yeah, screw you, bro.
TCG player, you'll get the
I'm
same thing a little bit. It doesn't happen that often, but my recommendation is if you are selling on TCG player, anything over $20, put a tracking number.
That's what I do.
Yep. If it's under
Yeah,
20,
and
you can run it
anything.
PWE, but if it's over $20 value for the package, just throw tracking on it.
Yeah, and for me, I'm probably not gonna. TCG player is not gonna be anything over 20.
You think that, and then someone goes buys one thing, and then they look at your store and they pick up like 10 other things.
Oh, you mean like total order? I thought you
Yeah,
meant
yeah,
like
yeah.
20 buck card.
No,
My
just
bad.
total
My
order.
bad.
If it's over
Yeah,
$20,
no.
track it.
Yeah,
Hmm.
that's big smart. I usually do tracking with all my stuff, unless it's like like $2. I'm not gonna throw
Right,
tracking
you
on that
just
because I'm losing
PWE
money.
it, get it out.
Yeah, yeah,
If they say
because
they didn't get it, oh no, you lost like $1 plus the stamp.
yeah, yeah. So it's very cool. Yeah, it's a lot of stuff. We've talked about a lot of stuff today, and I've really enjoyed this conversation.
Yeah, it's been
Uh,
good.
here, it's great. A couple things before we close. Like, what has been in the whole time you've been in the TCG? This can be, I guess, since you've partaken. Obviously, you said in like Yu-Gi-Oh, Magic, all that type of stuff. Um, what has been like your favorite
Professional
memory you've had
nerd.
in the? Yeah, no, that's so true, bro. It's fun to be. It's fun. Um, and for me, you know, I was gonna say this earlier and I forgot, but now I remember. An entrepreneur guy that I like to follow. He says like, oh, every entrepreneur, which I like to like. I think I'm an entrepreneur. I'm an entrepreneur of Pokemon cards. Pokepreneur is what I like to say.
Yeah, I like the term for
Um,
it. I like it.
yeah, and I think I'll probably get it on a shirt or something like
You
that.
should, or like a hat, Pokepreneur.
Yeah, but what was I gonna say? Like every entrepreneur has like that first like big cash flow business that they then use to like put into other businesses and stuff
Right,
like that.
that's where I'm at
And
now,
for
actually. Yeah.
yeah, so that's kind of what I see this as. Like I love it. It's my hobby, right? But this is my first big cash flow business that will then lead into more other projects that I like. Other
Hmm.
businesses that
We
I
always
enjoy.
want your money to
Um,
work for you, right? Not against you.
yeah,
So
yeah,
any excess capital, you should definitely be putting it into something that can generate revenue.
yeah, exactly. Like something for me, like I like the gym a lot, so I want to open a gym. And I also like restaurants, so I'll probably open like a burger joint or something like that. Like stuff, like just random things, but stuff that I enjoy,
Hmm.
and all that will stem from selling Pokemon cards, which
Right,
is
which is
kind of
crazy,
funny
right?
if you think of it. Yeah, exactly. Like talking to my grandkids or whatever, like 70 years old, 80 years old, and be like,
Yep.
you know how I made my first money? I made my first $1 million selling Pokemon cards. How do you think about that?
Right.
And they're like, what the like? Hopefully it's still around by then. I don't even know.
Dude, it's not going anywhere.
Uh, yeah, it's the biggest IP, or is it the biggest
It's the largest multimedia franchise in the
franchise?
world, for
Yeah,
sure.
that's that's so crazy.
Hmm.
Um, but anyway,
They know how to print money,
my
man.
question
What
is,
can you say, right?
yeah, and print cardboard, and not print cardboard so that it goes up for money.
Hmm.
But my question would be like, what's been like your favorite memory overall, and like the TCG, or favorite memories or favorite aspect of the TCG that you've had?
Favorite memory of the TCG? Probably, honestly, probably Magic. Just hanging out with my friends, like doing like home Magic. There's like nothing better than just like going to your friend's house, having some beers and just playing some cards, you know?
Mhm.
I think there's more enjoyment into it when it's actually a game, right? Because you actually can interact with people and you're playing a game
Yeah,
together, right? So that's probably my favorite that I've had with like any TCG is just playing the game with my friends. The money
cool.
and all the cards are cool, but like you got to make some memories too, right? So
Yeah, yeah, that's really cool. And I can see like Black Lotus. That's how much they're like 20 grand, right?
a super beat to
Or
shit one's like 15,000. And it depends
so
on
how
if it's
much is
alpha
like
or beta. You're not touching an alpha one. Like they don't exist. It's probably like 30K, 40K if it's beat up.
really?
Oh yeah.
If it's
Like
beat
ran
up,
through the
that's
washing
crazy.
machine, yeah.
Wow,
Yeah, actually I'm
that's
curious. Yeah, a beat up like um beta is probably like 12 G's. Just gonna
that's crazy. How much do PSA 10s go for? They're
oh
like
dude,
multi-million, right?
unachievable. And so here's a CGC 8 blue label for 33,000 and that is this limited? It's beta. So an 8 is 33 G's in CGC. You
That's
can
crazy.
get I think
Just
there's
crack
like
it and send it to PSA.
right, I think probably 250K or something for like a nice alpha, like in a 9 probably. 10 would probably be like insane. Of course, I'm also just
Crazy.
spitballing numbers because these cards just don't exist in those grades anymore.
Yeah,
But like in permanent
that's
collections with like Post Malone, right?
yeah, yeah. With his one of one
Yeah, the One
ring,
Ring, yeah, 2.3 million or something.
crazy.
Yeah, imagine
Um,
being that guy that opened the pack.
and wild. I think I read that because that's when I was like really thinking about going into Magic, but I was like, I don't know.
He's a cool guy. He still does
But
TikToks. He still opens packs.
yeah,
He played the smart game of he had a CPA and he had those guys invest in some stocks and like he can live off of the dividends and the interest, but he still works a regular job and he's still just ripping packs on TikTok.
nice.
So
It's
it's just the same guy. He
just
just is now set for
yeah,
life. He doesn't have to work as
that's cool.
hard.
Yeah, it's wild. Well, I was gonna. Oh, I'll I'll ask this one and then we'll do closing thoughts. What do you think about Tag?
Tag. Um, I hope they take over CGC. I. It's funny because people are like, oh, AI grading is the way, but they don't realize that these parameters that the AI uses is set by human, right? So it's still human grading. It's just the AI is grading it, right? I saw a recent post from them too saying that they wanted to have grading pods around. So you could just
Yeah.
take your cards and it'll grade it, encapsulate it, and you're good to go, like right there on the spot. That's really cool.
Mm,
I like the slab design. Slab design's really nice. It's so clear. It's like glass. I'm not sure how true this is, but I think the information that's etched and like put on the
hmm.
slab is on the outside. So I think
Yes.
it can rub off is the concern.
Really?
Yeah, I think that's one of the concerns with tag. But I can't really, I don't have one, so I can't attest to how
Mm.
true that is. But I think they're cool. I just don't think they're gonna ever take over the big two. But I definitely hope they replace CGC. I actually used to work at CGC, so
Oh yeah, I think who told me that? I think Abe told me that with Jackson that
Yeah, I did grading at
you worked as
QC
a
over
grader.
there. Yeah.
It's cool.
But
That's
I don't like where they're headed nowadays. And after they changed from the
mm,
blue label to the new label, the grading standards got all wonky and now they're in like lawsuits with all these like fake alpha beta test cards that they
okay.
graded and
Yeah.
it's just a whole mess. And they're impossible to get rid of
Oh,
as a vendor
I'm
to
not
a
on the
vendor.
CGC.
If you take in CGC, God bless you. They're going to be hard
That's
to
what.
sell.
Let's see. Where was it? My brother, in one of his trades, he traded this card for
Love that one.
CGC. Well, he traded like a Japanese slab for this, and it was in the CGC 8.5,
It's so basically
and
just raw.
it less than raw.
Yeah.
And I told him I was like, find Lucky. You know Lucky, right?
Hmm.
Lucky had a plier, and I told him find Lucky, crack this, crack it. Price of the card automatically goes up $10.
Right.
So that's what we do with our CGC. We just
Yep.
crack it and sell as well.
I crack tens, dude.
Uh,
If I take tens, I take it at near mint raw. The only time it's worth more is pristine. But even then, I
yeah.
don't know how the buying pool is for that. It just seems like that's the other thing that Tag has going for it. Like people are buying Tag slabs.
Yeah.
And I do like the information that they give you with the QR code, and you can see all of like
Mm,
the scans and stuff that they did and why you got the grade you got. That's nice. I just the
mhm.
liquidity and like the PSA, it's hard to beat, man. It's just everybody already has a
Yeah.
million of them in their collection. It's what they collect. It's hard for people to uh, turn to like another company and be mismatched with their other slabs. Like I only have
Mhm.
one Beckett slab for that reason, but I had to pick it up because it was first at Lugia.
Yeah. Really, that's sick.
But
Gas car.
if this was a PSA 9, it would be worth a lot more money. I think the 9 recently on PSA did 5K.
Dang.
Um, hopefully this one does like 3K. So that's a huge change, right?
Yeah.
But people just don't like to mismatch their collection is the biggest problem too.
Yeah.
And PSA just has everybody by the balls now. So everybody likes PSA, so they're not really
Yeah.
going to shift away from it or sell it all to go for tag.
Yeah. Sure. That sounds really cool. Um, do you have? I've loved talking. My computer is gonna die soon. I just realized that because I was uploading stuff all day at school, so it's been drained. But do you have any closing thoughts before we just close?
Pay attention to the market, especially with crypto. If you are holding a bunch of modern by the end of the cycle, I feel for you. I think it's going to crash pretty hard, but we'll see where it goes. I'm skeptical of the modern market right now. Podcast is sick. Keep doing it. You know, you. It's crazy. You got Arvin. That was awesome. I loved that video. It's
Yeah, I
crazy.
just text him. We text now on the regular.
That's awesome. Yeah.
He's just a. I'll hopefully summertime. I'll hopefully go to California sometime for something, and I'll
Yeah.
be on the stream.
My other
We'll
closing
just
thoughts is
we'll
that
just
I
be
need to
chilling.
see you at Collecticon Atlanta, which is when's the next one? That's my challenge to you. I know you have
Yeah.
the Tony telling you do some revenue, but my goal for you is to be ready for Atlanta by September.
All right.
You could do it. Do a few local
I'll try.
shows. I mean, if you bring like 5, 10K worth of stuff to Atlanta, you'll be cruising just on trades.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's crazy.
September 13th and the
Um,
14th, which is unfortunate because
September
that's my
13th.
fiance's birthday. She's looking at me in the corner right now. She's
Oh,
she's
hello.
she's
So I say
creeping.
hi.
He says, "Hey, bring me your Blastoise sweater. I'm gonna leave on that. Talk about her airbrushing stuff. It's in the car. Ah, they're in the car. They're in the trunk from Atlanta. We just haven't unloaded the trunk, I guess. Yeah,
That's cool
cool
though.
podcast. I like it, man. Keep doing what you're doing.
Thank you. Yeah,
Um, we'll
I
be
enjoy doing
interested to
this.
see where you're at a year from now, and I'll be interested to see where I'm
Yeah,
at in a year from now. It's all
yeah.
about
I'm
just
sure we'll
growing,
both
man. It's all about just growth.
be very far. Yeah, cool. Well, thank you. Where can people find you, Anthony?
You can find me on Instagram at Pokey_Halls with the Z, HAULZ. Same one as like TikTok, YouTube. If you see a Gyarados, you're in the right spot.
Yeah, yeah, awesome. Well, I thank you for coming on. This has been the 13th episode of the PokéSells official podcast, guys. Have a great rest of your night, day, evening, morning, whatever time you're watching this. Once again, Anthony, thank you for coming on. Had a great conversation, and keep in touch. See you guys later.
Thanks for having
Bye.
me, man. We'll see you Saturday.
Of course.